Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards under $1. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And today we're going to try something a little bit different. We of course do the set reviews every single time where we evaluate the cards according to their strength for limited, so that is sealed and draft. And then afterwards, of course, on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we go hit the pre-release and we go check out to see whether we were right or whether we were wrong. But I think for today, what will be interesting is to see how do we do, what do we think of our own evaluation regarding the cards, and how we're going to change it going into the future. So I think first thing, Stefan, how did you do?
I went 3-1. I won the first 3, then my last opponent didn't want to intentionally draw, so we had to play it out. And then I was a bit greedy and I got a bit screwed, so I lost.
That's
so,
too
but
bad.
yeah, I was second or third.
That's nice, that's nice. I came in 6th out of 21 people. There's one change that I made in the deck, which is different from the deck that you can see on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So we'll be discussing that in a minute. Let's say the decks, how they did, I felt like Dominaria was a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I thought the cards were great. Card stock is something we're gonna have to talk about another time. Now we're just talking about the fun aspect of the game. I think that this is actually a really great set to play sealed in either case. I don't know about drafts or anything like that. And of course, people are talking a lot about all the great commander cards that are coming out for that as well.
I'm actually really looking forward to those. But I actually also really liked playing the cards, but it was just so many cool cards that you showed. I was like, oh, and these do all those things. And also playing with a lot of legendary cards, like, it also makes it really interesting because legendaries mostly have something with them, so that was really cool.
Did you feel like, because we talked about in the release, we said, yeah, there's a lot of legendaries, but what are the chances that you're going to have them? So don't rely too much on the legendary sorceries. Do you feel like that was still the case, or do you think no, there were so many legendaries you could easily build around the legendary something?
Well, I had Yakmot's Will as a promo, and I did not play it because I only had 4 legendaries in 3 colors, and I didn't want to risk it. I felt I did not have enough legendaries at the moment, and I also saw someone against me and he was also playing played the Yakmot's Will with only 4 legendaries, but he also had Scree. But the thing is, he lost because he couldn't cast Yakmot's Will against me, so that's how I won.
Yeah,
because it was stuck in his hand, like we talked about.
Yeah, agreed. So I guess that evaluation was pretty good. Regarding the decks, what I played during the pre-release was a black and white deck, and the reason why I played that was, first I got the Slimefoot Stowaway, 2 of those, the green and black 2/3 fungus that can make more saplings. So I thought, oh, I've got 2 of those, I gotta go into that, you know. But of course, you're not gonna be able to play both simultaneously, but it's still good. It's low cost, it's very nice. But then it turns out that I didn't really have enough removal in those colors, so I had to end up going white, which ended up being a blessing in disguise, because I actually had Danitha Capashen Paragon, and I had 2 of those as well. And that was actually a card, I mean, we discussed it, we said it was a good card, so you know, that's fine in the evaluation, but it was seriously, it was almost a bomb by itself. You think to yourself, okay, it is a 2/2 with first strike, vision, and lifelink. How could this thing be a 2/2? How could that be almost a bomb by itself? Well, it really ran away with the game, and if you put any equipment on this thing, it just gets so out of hand. And I think it's also something that that we talk about quite frequently. Lifelink is pretty big in limited, and this is especially a card that shows once again that even if you're in a losing proposition, with the first strike, with the vision, it can really pull you out of a bad situation. So I really like that card.
Yeah, I played against it and I didn't really feel like it was that difficult to get rid of, but then again, my deck was also more fatties, so maybe that helped.
Yeah. But also a card that I liked very much playing was, what was that? The card that also, just a simple green worm, the 7/6. Yep. I forget the name of that. That's simply a bomb. You know, we talked about that, that it is a bomb. Very basic bomb.
Yeah.
But the problem is red has no way of dealing with that because they only deal 5 damage, which means that red has such a big trouble dealing with these big fat green creatures.
Yeah,
So it
it's
just
so
doesn't-
difficult. It's such a big creature anyway, so it doesn't matter which color, you can barely get rid of it anyways.
Yeah, that was really good. Also, let me just grab one more thing. All right, and we have a guest appearance right now. Lisa, why don't you come and say hi to everybody?
Hello.
Okay, you actually have to show your head. All right. Another card that was extremely good. That's the thing with this freeform stuff. You get walk-on guest appearances who refuse to stay apparently. Okay, Black Blade Reforged. I'll put the picture on the screen as well. This is a card that I thought was very interesting because we said put it aside. So it seems like a very powerful artifact. You get +1/+1 for each land under your control. But we said, okay, the equip cost is 7. So you're never going to get into that. It's too much. And, you know, the 3 equip for if it's a legendary, what are the odds? So we're going to put that one aside. What turned out that I gave it a shot. I wanted to see whether we were right or whether we were wrong. Turns out that we were wrong, at least in my case. Turns out that even with only 4 legendary creatures, which I had, I almost always was able to equip it for 3. And especially if you put it on the Nathia, or I forget the name, the 2/2 First Strike Vigilance Lifelink. You put that on there, equip it for 3, and then you attack with a Vigilance 8/8 or something. It is just redonkulous.
That's insane.
That goes crazy. But even let's say I did not have that, which I very often did have, surprisingly enough. But even if I would not have that, if around turn 8, 9 or something, I would get this piece of equipment, I would be able to put it onto either a regular 2/2 and start pounding, forcing them to block, otherwise they die, killing something. It's basically removal every single turn. And if I did have one of my flyers, then it was pretty much game over, because that 7 mana investment, if they didn't have instant speed removal right there to kill it, then they could just scoop. Because
This is insane. So much power.
If you have 9 or so mana, what was the card that surprised you very much?
The Helm. The Helm
okay.
surprised me so much. We said 4 mana to put it down, 5 mana to get it on a creature. So it'll cost you 2 turns to get it. And yeah, sometimes it did cost me 2 turns to get it, but this is a slow format. I also played against the aggro deck, which didn't really work out that well for him. And it did so much for me. Also, I had a deck with a lot of fatties because I played 3 colors with a lot of high colored mana cost, for the mana cost cards, but still it's like really a lot of things, so much value with it. And since it was so slow, I could get so many things out of it. I got a 4/5 hexproof turtle. I had the Ephra.
Did you give it flying though, the turtle?
I didn't, but I had 5 of them, which also won the game.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I got Ephra. I activated ability once. I only played it once.
Okay.
And then it got removed while I was attacking, but I had 8 mana, so I could change my life total back. So that helped me.
That's pretty nice.
But I tried it. The 5 mana 3/2 flyer that gave me life, that was insane. Because milling 3, it was tricky a bit because after milling 9 cards, I was a bit hesitant to do that again. And also
it's still 3 power in the air.
Yeah,
really disgusting. That's tier 2. It just hits so hard. And gaining the 3 life is
gaining 3 life was really important,
yeah.
because I was such a slow deck. I really needed that life.
Yeah.
The 4/3 Spectre, also insane. If you have multiple of those, yeah.
Yeah, still that's tier 1 right there as well. Was it tier 1?
It was tier 1.
Yeah.
It was really good. And also what was so nice for me was the 8 mana 7/6. I sacrificed a couple creatures for it to get it on turn 4.
The black one,
yeah.
Yeah.
On turn 4 or on turn 6. And then instead of turning other people's life totals to 10, I actually gained so much life with it. I gained more life than I made people lose life with it.
Nice, okay.
So yeah, it was really insane what I could do also with the Helm. And it doesn't matter what I had with the Helm, because I also had the 6 mana 5/5 trample artifact. So that's really nice. Multiple tramplers. I had 1/2 that gave me a land for 3 mana. So I could get a lot of value with that. The creature that puts an artifact back to your hand from your graveyard. So got a lot of these things back. Chump blocked with the 1-2, got it back, played again, get another land. It's so insane.
It was nice, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really grindy deck, and I really needed that too against all the other cards.
Did you find that that aggro decks did not really perform very well this set?
Well, I played against one aggro deck, and he mulled to 6 with a 2-lander, and he stuck on it, so that's a shame. And then he also drew a lot of lands, so he drew like...
It's not a representative.
No, exactly. So I don't know what happened there. I played against a mid-range deck that perfectly curved with Tetsuko and with all the 1 mana powers, so that beat me because I just couldn't do anything against the Tetsuko. But for the rest, I haven't seen the...
Well, I did play against a couple of aggro decks, and I did notice that as soon as I was able to pop down a 2/3, just the most basic 2/3 on the planet, then they just ground to a complete halt.
Really?
They just really could not attack properly anymore. They really started having to use their premium removal against, you know, 2/3. Those are the filler cards, as you remember.
Yeah.
Those are tier 3 cards. Having to use the removal against that, and then when I would play, for example, my bomb, which was Salai Voice of Plenty, which is, you know, a 4/3 flyer that every for 6 mana can pump your entire team with a +1/+1 counter. I mean, I also had the artifact which taps for 3 mana, any color, which means that as soon as I had that on the battlefield, sometimes I would be able to activate it twice, which is really, really disgusting thing to do, even if you only have a couple of creatures. So I noticed that was also a bomb card.
Yeah, but that's just also just a really good card.
Yeah, the card that was extremely good against my deck, which I noticed, which is also a bomb card, which really put me in a difficult situation, was Demon Lord Belzenlock. Whenever that card was played, it was essentially game over. I mean, Essence Tier 1, that thing would come in, and of course, obviously, the person who was playing against did build their deck around it, meaning that they pretty much only had, well, not really, but they had a lot of converted mana cost 4 or greater spells, which means that sometimes they would lose 4 life, draw 4 cards. Their hand was complete control deck, refill their hands. They'd have that 6/6. I would often still have some removal to exile it, keep it, saving myself from that. But by that time, they would have so many cards that it was just impossible to get back.
I haven't seen any Belzenlocks,
no.
But
consider yourself lucky, my friend.
But there were 4 or 5 people with the helm, and we were with around 16 people. So that's also really insane. Yeah. So many people with the helm. So
we're wrong with respect to the helm. We said we should put that aside because the converted mana cost was too high. Stefan concurs that actually the helm, in limited, in sealed at least, it does carry its weight and should be definitely
I think
included.
that's actually nearly the only reason why I won the games.
Yeah.
Because I grinded it all and then just stabilized with the help of the helm.
Yeah. A card that I also feel like we were right about was Syncopate. I had one player who put in a couple of those, who was really trying to, you know, make sure that those early drops could all be countered so that later on they could play their bombs and you wouldn't have that aggro strategy. But that only worked one time, because once you knew that the person had the Syncopate, you just always had to make sure you had enough mana left over so that they would not be able to counter by paying an extra mana. Then they were never able to counter you again after that point in time. So that's something that's also good to remember. Syncopate might work one time, but maybe sideboard it out after that first game. Because the first game, I got caught off guard. You think, oh, cool, I'm gonna, 3 mana, I can play my my perfectly costed 3 mana creature, and then they counter it. That's a problem. But then later game, you start playing around it. But if you just sideboard it out, the Syncopate could be kind of scary, and it's not even in your deck anymore.
Yeah, so that's nice.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was actually really difficult to build the deck. I had so much trouble with
because you were looking for that 6th color, right? You were looking for that 6th color, and you just couldn't. Okay,
well, the thing is, I had Yakmot's Will, and I really wanted to work, but I didn't have enough legendaries. I was really struggling with 3 colors, seeing if and the most of the things I could get was 4 legendaries, and that just wasn't enough. I wanted to get 6 legendaries or something like that to actually make it work. And then I was trying to play the helm, and I had red instead of the blue, so I had black, white and red, and that was actually a pretty decent deck. And
why was it decent?
Because I had a pretty good curve. I had creature that has kicker to get instant or sorcery back. Plus I had 3 more pieces of removal: Shivan's Fire, Fight with Fire, and the Fire Intervention. So that's 3 pieces of really good removal, on top of the 2 pieces in black, and also 1 in white. So Gideon's something. Yeah,
should be over here.
Something that push. He punches.
Deals 4 damage to target attacking the block.
He's
that was good.
Punching. Yeah,
solid removal. I had that one in my deck too.
And also I see Manipulator, so I would have like a really good removal suit, but then I think 5 minutes before everyone was supposed to be done, I was like, you know what? Instead of playing red, I changed it all to blue. And then
that's not to be recommended, by the way.
And that's only because I wanted to play the helm with the turtle, because it's a hexproof. So if I play the helm, it cannot be removed, and I thought that was really important. I won game 1, then I was thinking about changing it back, but everyone was like, so you won 2-0, why would you change it back? Because I think this is more consistent, and people were like, no, don't, it's working, you won. And then I just kept on winning until the end. So it was like, I guess, even though I still think that might be a better choice playing red.
Was the helm something that you put often on the turtle, or did you end up putting the helm on other stuff which gave you great value?
I put the helm on a lot of stuff. Like nearly every creature I had, I've put the helm on. And not only the turtle, I played it on the turtle once, I played it on the Spectre once, I played it on the 3/2 flyer a lot of times, because I was such a slow deck and I needed that life, so I just kept doing that. Also, when they called time and I was still had to get 5 cuts for my deck, so I was like, oh, this is bad, this is like filler, that's filler, that's filler, and without knowing it, I cut all my 2-drops. So that is the reason why I didn't have a 2-drop in my deck.
I was really wondering about that. That was the comment. I was like, interesting strategy. Let's see how it pans out for him.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the reason why I didn't have 2-drops, because I was pressed on time. I needed to sleeve my deck, I needed lands, and I only had like, everyone was already done actually. He already called time, and I still needed to get 3 cuts.
Also not to be recommended to not play any True Dust. So how did you think, because we had a discussion about the enchantments in this set, the auras more specifically. Yeah. We also had a discussion about the sagas, which were, the sagas were hit or miss in our review, and I think that was the case as well during a pre-release. But did you see anybody using those auras that we talked about, the 1 mana blue one, the I think it was 3 mana white one? Did we see anybody using those effectively like we anticipated that they would be?
The one that gives flying and legendary,
yeah,
on Sarah's wings.
Yeah,
I've seen that multiple times, and I've seen it work so many times.
Yeah,
but the one that played against me, I bounced the creature in response. So 2 mana for a creature and the Sarah's wings. So I kind of 2-for-1'd him.
Yeah. Which is obviously a reason why you normally don't play enchantments, because that can be a risk.
Yeah, but I've seen people play it, and I was also thinking about playing the enchantment that goes +2/+1 in menace, but I cut red because I don't know why. Yeah. So yeah.
So we still suspect that they can be really good in this set. We just did notice. We didn't notice whether it was or wasn't the case they were good.
Well, I've seen people like with on Sarah's wings at least.
Okay, so that one is at least good. Okay, yeah. No, I also had first I had the enchantment which gives the creature +2/+2, makes it a knight, gives it first strike. Which I was going to play on Dominaria to make her 4/4 first strike lifelink vigilance, which would have been sweet. But then I put in the sword, the black forged sword, and that was simply much better, because it turns out that I did actually have it very often, both of them, because I had 2 times that Dominaria creature.
That's insane.
Yeah. But also, speaking of artifacts, was recommended to us. When we were doing the review, we talked about the short sword, which is the piece of artifact which costs 1, equip for 1, and gives creature +1/+1. I did not have it in my pool, otherwise I would have put it in there to see how it would have worked. Did you see anybody using that short sword to effect?
No, I had it, and I didn't play it. I did have the red legendary that gets three ones elementals. So that's why I was thinking about playing it, but I just didn't do it because I thought +1/+1 wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
I did play the jousting lens though.
Yes,
and
I've seen that one as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that did so much work because I got the 2/2 knights with vigilance, and then putting one on there, 4/2 first striker with vigilance, and then able to block anything the turn after that for half a card. No one's gonna do that.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, I've definitely seen the jousting lens being used to great effect. Great card. I think we also said just put it in. We're very happy with it as well. The other card that I also saw being used to great effect was the one that gives +3, +0, and trample.
Yeah.
That card, and then also whenever the creature dies that's equipped, it over equips to another creature. That card was used so well because all they needed to do was make sure they always had 2 creatures on the battlefield. It would always just attack, doesn't matter if it died, trample over the damage. It goes on to the next one. That one goes in, bam, bam, bam. It just did so much damage. You couldn't block it without losing a creature because it always goes on a 2/2 or even something higher than that. So that was really nice. I think all in all, I love the cards.
Yeah.
I love the way it played. Even when I lost, I still felt like it was a lot of fun. Like I saw cool things happening. I always say, it doesn't matter. Winning is great, but losing is also fine as long as you feel like it was a game. As long as you feel like both people were able to play cards, both people were trying to enact their strategy. And if one person is completely mana flooded or mana screwed or doesn't draw any creatures or at least playing those legendary things that they can't legendary sorceries or something. When somebody is not playing Magic, then I don't think anybody's having fun. And I noticed very much that most of the were just close and fun.
Yeah, it also helps because it's a slow format. I've seen it being slow, at least in my opinion. But yeah, the game that I lost, I was just very greedy.
Yes, Stefan once again looking for that 8th color in Magic. It gets greedier every time I tell it. Anyway, so did we learn anything which we will take along with us for our future reviews? I can say for myself, for example, that I learned something from the artifact equipment. That regardless of whether the equip cost is very high, that you really have to look at it a little bit more critically and think to yourselves, okay, how slow is the format itself? And how great is the benefit of equipping the thing? Because we did talk about the Black Forge swords, and we did talk about the helm, and we did say that they're really powerful, but we just thought that okay, that's 8 mana to equip, that one's 7, or what is it, 4 mana to equip, that one's 7 to equip,
mana, yeah.
And we just said okay, it's too high. But we have to realize okay, this is the equivalent of like a bomb, or which will turn any of our 2-drops or anything else into a bomb. For the sword then in this case, and then we may need to think to ourselves, okay, this one might be a tier 2 card after all.
Yeah, also because limited is most of the times really a lot slower than draft, so that's also important to think about, because if you're playing draft, then I still don't think at least the helm might be good enough, because it might be a lot faster because people have more well-tuned decks, and that's what I had. Like I couldn't get a 2-color deck that would work. I couldn't. So that's why I had to play 3 colors, which means I'll be a lot slower, be a lot clunkier. But yeah, that's what I have with limited and with sealed at least. And I still think like the helm and the sword will help you with that board stall and will win you those board stalls.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to look at those more critical.
Because think about it, how often do we put a creature with evasion tier 2? Almost all the time. Why? Because these cards are the ones that allow you to win when it's a board stall. And that's a situation where everything grinds down and you need something that can punch through. And you think, for example, Jasu Vest, for example, that was the 4/5 creature, and it has menace as well.
Yeah.
With menace, evasion, really good. This is a bomb. This thing can win games by itself. Although I noticed it just wasn't as much of a bomb as, for example, the 3/4 flyer, or even as a what is it? The 7/6 worm, 6/7 worm.
7/6 worm.
7/6 worm. You think, okay, yeah, but that's a common, and this is Liliana Vest's brother. This guy's got to kick butt, right?
Yeah. But the thing also is like it isn't as big and it isn't as impactful as 3 power more and 1 toughness more. It's the thing is, even if you want to block it with 2 creatures, you can't kill it, and Josuves you can kill with 2 creatures.
You can definitely kill Josuves with 2 creatures, especially if one of them is a big fat worm, and the other one is just the 2/1 artifact that came in and also made you look for a land to put it in your hand.
1/2.
Sorry, the 1/2 creature that
If
also.
only it was a 2/1.
But still, so I think. Yes, Josuves, especially if you can get the 10 mana, then it's game over. But the thing is, I haven't seen anybody be able to get to that 10 mana.
Oh, I
still
have
be alive
actually.
and play. Okay, you did. Okay.
Yeah, because I had 2 of those artifacts that searched for land, and I also copied that a couple times, and I was just grinding and grinding and grinding. So I had like 9 mana, 10 mana a lot of times, just because it was such a grindy game.
Well, the games where I was playing against Josuves, I noticed people really tried to put it out on turn 4. You know, start getting that,
Understandable.
Try and get that damage in. But funny enough, at a certain point, you can even stop that card. But the 3/2 flyers, like the Cat Knight, or just even the 1/3 Pegasus that gives something else flying, that gets insane at the end of the game. And I'm really amazed at how much the uncommons were actually able to carry games, especially those legendary uncommons were in there as well, were really, really nice. I think that is all that I have to say about the set so far. If there's anything else, Stefan?
I don't know, I think I had it on a midnight pre-release haze, so yeah. I enjoyed it.
It's all still foggy, but yeah, we had an awesome time. Can't wait for the next time we're gonna play. I think we have a box over there. I think we might. You wanna? Should we just open some packs?
Maybe, yeah.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys next time.